2 individual sessions with groups, and in doing the research for those sessions, I've come to realise that actually governance isn't quite as dry as we all think it is. It is a more positive tool. You see, when I first started thinking about governance, I probably, like you, thought we're talking about charity commission, we're talking about Companies House, this is going to be as dry as ditch water, and what we're talking about is where to put our annual accounts. Yeah? That's sort of that's only what I took governance to be. Actually, it's not. What governance is about, yes, there is a statutory function, and that is one that has to be timetabled, has to be put to one side, has to be remembered, but then actually can be parked. What's more important for governance is it's about your vision. It makes sure that you have a real hold on where you want your project to end up. So your board of trustees or board of directors, depending on which way you're set up, are there to make sure that that vision for the end game is there at every stage of the project. That doesn't mean it's static. Heaven forbid, it's definitely not static. But it does mean that you all have that common goal, and that's a really important thing. It makes sure every step you take, you're walking towards your delivery. It does also ensure, and this is a problem for many organisations, that it's a team effort. That it is about a group of people coming together with the same vision. It hopes to preclude the idea that it's a one-man shop. That what we're talking about is one person's vision with another group of people who come together maybe once a month or once every quarter. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a true collective approach to a project. The other thing that's really important is that it displays your capabilities. It shows people, it gives people the confidence that you guys have the ability to deliver the project and are set up appropriately to do that. Because if you're not, the funders, for example, really aren't going to like funding an organisation where there isn't the confidence in the structure. Okay, so good governance. It is about leadership. It is about making sure you know what you're doing. Actually, I'm not going to do this now, but if you sit down with the group and say, what is your vision? Most people can do the one-liner. My vision is to secure this building and put it into community use. Dig into that, and you will get a different opinion right the way around, unless there is a vision sitting there that promotes that governance role. Everything has to be deliverable. We're talking about small steps that lead you to an overall project. And I think behaving with integrity, we know you will do that. But being open and accountable is an important thing. And that's about visibility as well. It's being visibly open. So that vision statement isn't a board document, it's a document you share with all of your partners. It might be local authority, it might be other funders, it could be volunteers or a friends group, but you make sure that what you're wanting to achieve is actually out there. It's not something you're squirreling away. Now, I said I'd talk briefly on the legal structure. This is to do with, well, that's the definitions for you. About 3-5 years ago, probably close to 5 now, there was a change, or there were 2 things that were created. A charitable incorporated organisation and a community interest company. The old setup is the classic Building Preservation Trust mode, almost becoming historic in its own right, which is organising yourself as a company limited by guarantee, so that there is protection for your trustees. That's what the company limited by guarantee means. Can be by shares, but it's normally by guarantee. And a charity. The reason why the government started to look and think, well, actually, that is a bit ponderous for an organisation, is you then have 2 regulators. You're regulated both by the Charity Commission and also by Companies House. So you have to send your accounts into 2 different sets of people, and you have to submit annual returns to 2 different sets of people. So they brought in 2 things. One is a charitable incorporated organisation, better known as a CIO. Quite frankly, it's about the same as a charity. It's not that different. There is not the need to contact Companies House in this instance. Your regulator becomes the Charity Commission. And there is a CIC, which is like a social enterprise company. The difference there is that the CIC is not a charity, so it cannot usually, there's a usually in here, get any kind of tax benefits such as gift aid. It's normally used by social enterprise organisations doing many different things. What we're talking about here is what you want to do. I'm going to keep belting this home because we've done the legal bit, we've done the regulatory bit. Now it's about moving the project forward. It's about those, if we wanted to be corporate, it's about the away days, knowing what you need to achieve. Now the way that PRT would capture that is by putting all of that into what we call a route map, a list of stuff, and the order in which you're going to do that stuff is what we call a route map. Then you need to tell people about it. It's a fantastic document because it can go to your funders with a cover letter saying, look what we're doing. And we realise that there are a number of steps in order to get there. You've got to keep looking at it, of course you have, because your project will change. It's one of those certainties in life. A heritage project will always change. It's that's it. Now, one of the things that people often get wrong, and you mustn't, is that the board that sets up as a campaigning board, probably, at the beginning, to try and acquire a building, to try and save something you care about, that board isn't the same as the board that then seeks money to do the development work in order to progress the project. And it's probably not the same to the delivery board, or to the board that, if you hold on to the project, is going to maintain the building. All of those things need different skills, and you do need to make sure that your board moves with your project. I'll talk more about that later. And then, of course, there is the legalese situation of what you've got to do. So, another thing that many people get not wrong, but misinterpret, is that governance and management are not the same thing. Governance looks at the big stuff, the big vision. Governance does not need to change the contract for a window cleaner. Management does that. Management looks after the management person on the board who is designated as the one that's going to manage the project. They're going to deal with the window cleaner. But if we're talking about a fundamental change in the project, that's your management, and that needs to be agreed by the whole of the board. Right, I mentioned this earlier, and it is so important. Let's have a think about this. When you're a campaigning group, you need someone who's going to shout. You need someone who's going to front up to the owner or the local authority or the whoever. And you're going to need to have a really simple aim to get that across. But once you've done that, and you want to start developing that project, you need a different range of skills. You might need somebody who's capable of talking to funders, or someone who wants to start filling in application forms. You might want somebody in there who's who understands a building project, or if you're doing an arts venue, who understands arts delivery or arts funding. It's a very different picture. Ditto when you're at delivery stage, because actually at delivery stage the board becomes quite hands-off in some areas. You're signing over a lot of the plans to architects, to contractors, and you might want to re-engage with community again to look at the end uses. And when it's maintenance, quite frankly, it's a completely different ball, because then you do want to make sure the sustainability is there. So don't be frightened to look at your board and to move your board on at various stages of your project. Reviewing the documents it is appropriate and it is recommended that you review that route map and the vision for the project on an ongoing basis, but certainly annually. Things will change. There is always a learning curve, and it might be that I'm talking about changes in the board, or it might be one person. It's not a case of changing that person. It's a case of making sure they have the skills to take them on to the next phase. It doesn't necessarily need a change in personnel, but it needs a change in skill. And one way of doing that is a skills audit. Now, people get terribly twitchy about this, and they're sort of hesitant, and they're either hesitant about ticking, yes, I have that skill, or they tick every box and say they're fantastic at everything. That's what I've found. So a couple of basics that I've done recently with groups is I won't let them do a skills audit whilst I'm sitting there. Give them the forms, take them away, think about it, but make sure it's not just about the skill. Then ask them the critical question, do you have the time to do this? Because if Jeremy was asked to sit on a board, he'd say, I've got all these fundraising skills, I'm fantastic at fundraising, and that would be fantastic, great, trust accepts on. He then says, I've probably got 3 minutes in a month I could give this. That's an appropriate time frame, I think. And then that person is taking up a place on your board, but they can't give you anything. They can't help. We can, of course, give you a blank skills audit. We're quite happy to do that, quite happy to work with you, but please remember that it's a generic one. It's not the one for you. And that's really important. You do need to move the sort of baseline skills audit to make it reflect what you actually do need, not the generic, we need a fundraiser, we need a legal person. And Purcell, close your ears for a second. I personally don't like having professional representation on the board, particularly of an architect, because if you do and then you appoint an architect, you have a camel. Because two sets of people want to do the design. Right, you've undertaken your skills audit, you've gone through your ticky boxes, you've realised that you have gaps in a particular area. What do? Well, the first thing you do is phone Claire, because one of the best ways of getting trustees isn't word of mouth. It's not, oh, let's look at our friends group and see who's there and has got some time. What it's about is bringing new people in. So you identify your skill, and then you need to tell people that you need that skill. And I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about local papers, I'm talking about notices in magazines, I'm talking about notices on church boards. But I'm also talking about, if you do have a Facebook page, get it on that Facebook page that you need these people, that you need someone. And yes, that might create an awful lot of applications, but how wonderful. You can then choose the best one rather than the one who comes through the door first. We've talked about the idea that boards might need to be moved on at times. And what I'm not suggesting is that corporate memory or that longevity of connection with the project gets ditched. What I'm suggesting is that there are other ways of ensuring that people stay with the project and stay valued within the project that isn't necessarily on the board. Some kind of friends group is the most obvious, and it's something that many building preservation trusts use. But certainly within Fritz's Regeneration Trust, we've used the ambassador role very successfully. People who are passionate about a project for a reason, who can give limited time, and it's not appropriate for them to come to every meeting, but who can be rolled out, shall we say, when there is a good reason to do so. Right. There will be, in the new year, a much more detailed resource that will pick out for you each stage of the project and how you can look at governance. I will try and put some jokes in it, I promise, just to try and keep you awake. But until that is available, if you do have anything, if you do want to talk about anything, don't be embarrassed about contacting us. We're quite happy to talk with you on the phone or by email about any specifics. Liliana just reminded me I've done 2 governance presentations so far with BRIC mentoring groups, and neither time have I managed to get through a governance presentation without at least one person resigning from the board. The chairman was my first one. I felt very, very silly. And the second one, the whole project scheme and vision went out the window. So we had to sort of take even more steps backwards. So I do hope nobody's going to resign, nobody's going to throw any route maps out the window after this. It is something that you can engage with positively, and it doesn't have to be just about the legalese. So there's my contact details as well. Thank you very much. Well done for staying awake. Good on you.